Hi everybody, so in this video what you're going to be seeing is I'm going to be flying as best as I can a Messerschmitt 109 from IL-2 Sturmovik Battle of Stalingrad over that city on the summer 1943 map from that game. And we're going to be kind of comparing it with flying the Flying Irons Spitfire, which is DLC for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. And in that we're going to be flying over modern day Stalingrad, or Volgograd as it's been known since the 60s. So the idea of this video is that it's for gamers who maybe you've played a little bit of flight sims and similar games in the past, and you're thinking about your options for diving deeper into the genre. But maybe to start off with, you're more interested in flying in a little bit more casual way than in actual combat. In other words, is the flying simulator part of IL-2 Sturmovik Battle of Stalingrad as good as the flying simulator part of MSFS 2020? You know, I kind of think that Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, if you haven't played it, what's amazing about it is that you're flying around the real world. You know, you look out and you can fly over your house, and it's there's something really immersive about that. It's like an amazing self-flying sightseeing tour. So maybe you've really enjoyed the flying in Battlefield, something like Ace Combat, or like myself, Flight Simulator, but you just want something maybe a little bit more serious, but mainly you want a good selection of World War II aeroplanes that doesn't break the bank. Because with me especially, I was kind of looking at, okay, so I've got the Spitfire in Microsoft Flight Simulator, which I think cost me about £25, and I thought about buying the Messerschmitt 109, but then it was another like £25, and undoubtedly these are beautiful models, but that's a really expensive way of doing things. And then you have DCS World as well, which has the amazing models, but again, you look at that, and that has a World War II part to it. They're so expensive to buy the aircraft. Now, I'm not an expert in any of these games or a flying simulator expert or anything like that, but I really enjoy flying around in the World War II aeroplanes. And there's nothing better I would like than going up in the Spitfire on Microsoft Flight Simulator, especially on PC, activating, I think it was the air show mod, and just flying around, you know, the coast of England with a couple of other Spitfires on my wing. That was really, really cool. But then I watched the Master of Skies TV series, you know, one about the American Bomber Force in World War II over Germany, you know, and I thought, right, I really want more of this, I really want more. But as I said before, the price of planes in Microsoft Flight Simulator sort of put me off. So, the other thing I've got to say is that when I'm flying these planes in Microsoft Flight Simulator, or when you see me flying around in the Battle of Stalingrad or Sturmovik games, is I do turn on a lot of the assists. You know, I just don't have the time to learn all the pre-flight checklists and the startup procedures for all the different planes. All that stuff is there in these games, but for me, I just like turning the engine on, pushing the throttle forward, taking off, and then, you know, flying around and then maybe landing, although I'm not very good at landing at all. I don't really, at the moment anyway, want to be involved in all the engine management side of things, you know, so turning on different radiators or keeping an eye on the RPMs and stuff like that. Now, both of these games do allow that, but, you know, they both allow you a more leisurely, arcade-like experience for the more casual sort of flight simmer like myself by editing the Realism settings. So, the other problem with Microsoft Flight Simulator, apart from the fact that the planes are so expensive, and there's not many World War II planes in it, is that there's no guns and bombs, and there's no combat. And also, obviously, you're flying above the modern day world, whereas in the Il-Sturmovik games, we're flying over the World War II world. And the same goes for DCS World as well, but again, the main thing that put me off DCS is it's just so expensive to buy those map packs and those aeroplanes. Armour 3, interestingly, is kind of worth playing around with if you've got it, but the problem with Armour 3 is that although the plane models are amazing and the cockpits are great, the maps really are too small for flight simulation. I think with Armour 3 and Armour Reforged and Armour 4, whenever that comes out, the maps are really kind of designed around helicopter size. I know you're saying, well, wait a minute, they didn't have helicopters in World War II, did they? No, but the maps that they made for World War II as part of some of the C DLC they're not really designed for zooming around in an aircraft at high speed. Too quickly, you're over the other side of the map and you're onto, you know, outside the map area. So anyway, what happened was, after Master of the Skies, and I was like looking around thinking, oh, how can I fly around in World War II planes without breaking the bank? I thought I'd actually take a closer look at the Sturmovik series of games, which I had heard of course, you know, definitely heard about them, but I thought they were just all about Russian aeroplanes on the Eastern Front, because after all, the Sturmovik, that's a ground attack aeroplane that the Russians used in the Second World War. So I thought it was just about that. But they're not. To my surprise, I discovered they're not just about that. The Sturmovik game you're seeing in this is Battle of Stalingrad. And Battle of Stalingrad is the base game, which then you can get like the Battle of Moscow, and there's another, I think there's another 2 Eastern Front ones, but then you have the Battle of Bodenplatte, they call it, which is basically Germany and bits of Western Europe. And then they've also got the they've got the Operation, is it Operation Overlord? I can't, but there's a Normandy one as well, which has got all those obviously all the British and American aircraft, well, lots of British and American aircraft in as well. So it's not just about Russian and German aircraft, you've got the Allied ones, and also you have the Cliffs of Dover series. And this is where it gets a little bit complicated as well, because Cliffs of Dover, Sturmovik, which was originally released, I think, back in 2010-ish, I think, something like that. But it wasn't a very good game, it was very buggy, so it was re-released after modders had got hold of it and then worked with the real devs in sort of 2017. And then they released some DLC for it as well. So you've kind of got these 2 parallel tracks for Sturmovik. You've got kind of they're both official, but you've got the Sturmovik Great Battle series, which is Battle of Stalingrad, Battle of Bodenplatte. I think it's Battle of Normandy, actually, the one in the west. And you've got the Battle of Moscow, and then another couple. And then you've got Sturmovik Cliffs of Dover Blitz, and then there's Sturmovik Desert Wings, I think it's called. And there's going to be, and they're working on it at the moment, Cliffs of Dover, and it's going to be Western Europe, but they're allegedly going to have B-17s in it. So I know I've probably just muddied the waters a little bit, but for now, probably the game to start with is Sturmovik Battle of Stalingrad when it's on sale. Maybe with the Battle of Bodenplatte, because if you get the Bodenplatte one, that's where you get like the Spitfire, the Mustang, you get the ME-262, and you get, you know, the Stuka. So you get the British and American planes as well as the German ones as well. So, and the good thing is when they do go on sale, they go pretty cheap. So that's really, really cool. And the good thing is when you buy the games as well, so in this case the Battle of Stalingrad one, you get the planes are included with the game. So I got this when it was on sale, so it cost me £8. So for that, I think you get about 5 or 6 German planes, 5 or 6 Russian planes. But you know, on the German side, you've got the Stuka, you've got the ME-109, you've got the 111 bomber, you've got the Junkers 8. I'm going to get this wrong, but is it the Junkers 88? I think, and you get the ME-110, I think, and then on the Russian side you get the Sturmovik, and you get lots of others, and I apologise for not knowing the names of them, but you get those as well. There is a bit of criticism though about the Sturmovik maps, and that is, it's kind of a combination of the areas that they choose to fly over, where they have their kind of battles, if you like, and maybe their recreations of them as well, because they tend to be a bit flat. Now, however, in this case, the area around the Volga and Stalingrad, or Volgograd, is really, really flat in real life as well, and you can kind of see that in the Microsoft Flight Simulator footage. But what that means is when you get down low, you don't always really get the sense of speed in Sturmovik that you get in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So that's a bit different. So you've got to kind of bear that in mind. So this kind of brings us back to the reason of this video, to compare the flight experience of IL-2 Sturmovik, in this case Battle of Stalingrad, with that of Microsoft Flight Simulator. And as I've said, the only Microsoft Flight Simulator World War II aircraft I own is the Spitfire, and in it we're flying over the modern day Volgograd. But hopefully, looking at this gameplay footage, it's giving you a good idea of the differences especially with how the games look and the feeling you get when you're flying. Now I've got to say as well is that the IL-2 games really lean into the need for a flight stick rather than using a keyboard and mouse or using a joypad, a gamepad, you know, something like an Xbox controller. So bear that in mind. If you're going to go down the Sturmovik route, you're probably going to want to invest in a HOTAS system, and I've got the Thrustmaster HOTAS X, which I managed to pick up a second-hand one pretty cheap. So, after all of this, I've got to say that, in conclusion, even if you're not interested in the combat side of things, I think for the sheer value for money, the IL-2 Sturmovik games are a really great option. Even if you only got IL-2 Sturmovik Battle of Stalingrad when it goes on sale on Steam for like £8, it's worth giving it a go because it's got free flight options, and you can jump into a HE-111 bomber, take off. You can turn on all the assists, you can turn off all the enemies, and you can just fly around those areas of Russia, you know, with a summer map, an autumn map, or a winter map. The snow ones look amazing. And it is really nice to do, and it is a great experience to be able to look round, and you haven't broken the bank, and you've got all these different choices. Now, obviously, the really amazing thing about Microsoft Flight Simulator is the fact it's the real world, and the way that you can look out of the window of your Spitfire and look down and see the road you drive along on the way to work is really immersive. I think it's magical. It's absolutely fantastic. But you don't get the range of World War II aircraft. They're expensive to buy if you do get the ones that they do have, and it isn't World War II, and there's no combat. So it's kind of, compromises and pros and cons on both sides. So I think, this is what I kind of think. I think that if you enjoy Microsoft Flight Simulator, but you want a World War II experience that doesn't break the bank, and you're willing to take the next step of buying a HOTAS system, a throttle system, and hopefully, with HOTAS that adds the joystick, and the HOTAS system has a throttle system as well, then I think the Sturmovik great battle games, of which Battle of Stalingrad is the first and the base game that you kind of start off with, I think you should definitely check it out, because what I found is with these games, these Sturmovik games, is they have these magic moments that occur normally when you're going into combat or you're getting attacked by other planes, and it's very, very cinematic in a way that you'll remember from watching war films, as a kid. If you watch like the Battle of Britain or something like that, the way that the planes swoop past. I just knocked my mic. Sorry about the way that the planes swoop past each other. Or you'll see a damaged plane trying to fly away, going low over the terrain, and that really is pretty special, that indeed. So for the price of £8 in the case of Battle of Stalingrad when it goes on sale, that's definitely worth checking out. And I think that the flight experience, although not as immersive as Microsoft Flight Simulator, it's still pretty good. Anyway, that's enough from me. What do you think? Put your questions and comments down below, and of course I'll see you again soon.